So today, I had like this crazy mental idea or opening that I got in the morning. I woke up early in the morning and woke up with some anxiety, actually a lot of anxiety, and I didn't feel good, right? So I woke up early, like around 6:30. I was just in my head. I was in my thoughts about a lot of different things. I was like, I gotta really focus on myself. I got so much to do. I got a job orientation coming up. I got school orientation coming up for college. I gotta fix my classes. I gotta focus on my brand. I gotta record videos. I was like all up in my head about a lot of different kinds of things, right? And so the thing that I realized is that this is all just stemming from what I think is kind of the society norm. I'm finding that of course I'm not the only person who has these anxiety attacks or nothing like that. It wasn't even an anxiety attack. It was just more in the sense. I mean, I guess you could say it was a small anxiety attack, but I was just being overcome with too much anxiety, and I think it stemmed from me being so overstimulated from so many different things in my life. Whether it's being distracted by social media, choosing to talk to friends just to distract myself, um, you know, and so distracting myself came with the cost of me not being able to have that clarity. And so I think that it's important to bring that time have that time to yourself. Today, mainly the main message, which I probably will put somewhere in the title, is being bored. You gotta learn how to just put your phone off to the side. I literally, in the morning, after I was done, like, after I had the anxiety, problem, I prayed, of course. I prayed. I was like, God, take away this anxiety from me. I looked for Bible verses as well, and then the first Bible verse that I read basically was saying, God doesn't. Feelings of anxiety is not from God, and so of course, if it's not from God, then it's probably not good for me. And so realizing that, I was like, okay, if it's not from God, then where is it from? And like I said earlier, it comes from us not being able to understand ourselves clearly, us being too caught up in too many things in our thoughts, and kind of being overstimulated in the sense of being on social media too much, or just distracting yourself with things that don't really matter. So after I was done praying, I got up. I was like, I gotta do something. I gotta acknowledge it. So I not simply acknowledged the issue. I went outside. I put a stopwatch on my phone, and I just was like, okay, I'm gonna see how long I can go without not touching my phone, without touching my phone. And so I put my phone down. I was just there. I was in my backyard. I made myself a green tea, which is really good. Um, I mean, not flavor wise, benefit wise, it was really good. But I made myself a green tea. I was just there. I was just trying to be present. And ultimately enough, I think that's the main message I want to give, is that you gotta be present. I think that's one of the most important art forms that I think society's starting to lose now. It's starting to lose now than more than ever. Because in a world where you can get so easily stimulated with just looking at one single video, I mean, like a going through a doom scroll, you get so stimulated to the point where your brain just is the just is completely focused on that. But whenever you give yourself the time to think and redirect your energy from being so stimulated by this little device right here to being able to actually observe and examine the world around you, I promise you, it sounds kind of odd. It's maybe, but I promise you, it gives you such crazy results that it is mandatory for me now. And I'm just saying that off of my first days, the amount of mental clarity that I got from simply, and I was off my phone for 30 minutes, simply 30 minutes of my time. I checked the stopwatch. It was 30 minutes when I picked it up. I was like, okay, I'm gonna watch like a YouTube video. I got a message from my mom or something. I don't know. But 30 minutes of my time just to be present gave me so much mental clarity just by me going outside, drinking a green tea, just simply observing. I was looking at the birds. I was in my thoughts. I was like, okay, what do I need? What do I need to prioritize right now? Where am I at in life? And just thinking about that alone, it sorry, uh, being by yourself is being present and just being there made me realize so much. I think one of the main things that I realized was like I was just there with a guy. I was there just acknowledging that things happen and acknowledging where I was. Like it's the morning. Excuse me. I'm by myself. I'm outside. I'm looking at the birds. Matter of fact, then later on in the day, I went out to go buy some bird seed for the birds because I just was like, dude, birds are so cool. Anyway, sorry, getting off topic. Uh, I was just being present, and I think that alone gives you so much mental clarity that it then allows room for more thoughts. And I thought to myself about the cup of suffering as I was drinking my tea. I was like, cup of suffering. It just was a thought that entered my head. And the thing is, like, that thought would have never entered my mind if I was constantly being stimulated by this, or by any other shit, It's just that thought would have never entered my head. The only reason it entered my head is because I was alone. No stimulation, no phone. I was just there with my thoughts alone. Who would have thought the amount of crazy, like, the things that come into your mind? And I think that's the thing that most people avoid is they try to avoid that kind of those thoughts. They try to avoid the anxiety. They try to avoid the things they don't want to think about, the people they don't want to think about. But being there, just something told me like cup of suffering. And I mean, of course, I remember I got it from like a hearing it in the Bible. And so I was like, cup of suffering. I remember Jesus was like, Lord, Jesus was praying to the Father and was like, Lord God. He was like, God, pass this. If there's any other option, basically, pass this cup of suffering for me. If there's any other way that I can save humanity, is please help me get that. Point is, Jesus was scared. He it's a normal. He might not have been scared, but it's a normal emotion for human beings, because Jesus was 100% human. He felt what it's like to be like that. He wanted to avoid the discomfort. He wanted to find another way. He wanted to have another way. Like, if there's any other way that I could avoid being crucified, God, please let that happen. As we saw, there wasn't any other way. But point being is that we have to sit with the discomfort. Sometimes we wish that there's like something better for us. Like, we wish that there was an easier way to get the things that we wanted to do. But majority of the time there isn't. It's either just you gotta go through the hard road and the things that we're scared to face. I think for me it was my thoughts. Because I used to be an enemy to myself. I used to see my thoughts as like, man, this is just nothing but straight anxiety in here. But being out there with God and just sitting in peace and just observing and just being there, I never forced myself to acknowledge. I didn't force myself to think about anything. I just simply was there. And then I was drinking and I was just practicing gratitude. And then that thought came to me, cup of suffering, as I was drinking my cup of tea. And I realized, like, that's exactly what we gotta do. Sometimes we gotta drink from the uncomfortable juice of life, like, it's hard. You gotta sit there. And honestly, like, I promise you, it's as simple, for me at least, it was as simple as 30 minutes. It was less than 30 minutes, it was like 28 minutes. Less than 30 minutes to find that mental clarity and that mental peace that then set me up ready to go through my day. And it took away all of those anxious thoughts that I had in my head. And I was like, okay, there's things that I want to do. As I was observing the backyard, I was like, man, I wish we had more seed for these birds because I want to see more of them. So then later on in the day, I got some bird seed. I put some bird seed in the bird feeder thing. I put it in like some of the houses that we got around the fence for the birds and stuff. And then I was doing that. I was like looking at the mulch in the flower bed area, and I was like, dude, that area looks dirty. I think it'd be cool like if I surprise my dad and like get some mulch, make it look nice, plant some flowers or some other pretty plants, cause it was just pure weeds in there. And I was like, I can do that with my time. So it's just about giving yourself time to think and redirecting your energy and focus from wanting to be stimulated by quick fixes and instead moving your energy and focus towards being real and honest with yourself. And I think that's one of the most beautiful things about life is that things can be as simple as that. Simple as just less than 30 minutes to just be outside and to just be by yourself and to just be where you are. Anyway, that's my quick little take. I'll see you guys tomorrow. I don't know what I'll talk about.